doing my review for Resident Evil 4 in VR. I know this is on the PS4, and you might be thinking, how are you doing a VR review without being on the VR? Well, unfortunately, as it stands with my VR, I lack the ability to be able to record videos on it with actually having my voice in it. So, unfortunately, this is the next best option. I I don't have the equipment or the know-how to get it set up where for the Oculus Quest I could have my voice be shared. So unfortunately I have to do it this way. But I have played through the game 3 different playthroughs. One on easy, one on normal, and one on professional. And I spent about 30 hours total, give or take, completing the game. And for each playthrough, I actually fought my way through all the areas instead of just one straight to the end, because personally I found that boring. So each playthrough was about 10 hours a piece almost. And, I spent my time looking around, enjoying the scenery. I have fully upgraded Leon and Ashley's health on all 3 playthroughs with maximum yellow herbs. I also completed the shooting gallery for all 3 playthroughs, even though really did not have to. I just kind of wanted to collect them all. And I managed to collect every treasure during all 3 playthroughs. And on easy mode, I've actually managed to make enough money where I could actually keep at least one of each treasure, which I love what they did with the new treasure update. I love the new screen for the treasure. I think it looks really cool. Way better than what we got on here, my personal opinion. And I love how nice and neat and organized it is. But anyways, I've also managed to beat the game with 5 guns fully upgraded. Except for on easy, I skipped out on upgrading all guns. I have the Magnum mostly upgraded, but not fully, and I have like 4 other guns that are fully upgraded, or 3. But on the easy mode, I wanted to try to keep all the treasures, so I kind of had to cheapskate out on the Magnum upgrade. And I can confirm, once you beat the game, you do get the infinite ammo rocket launcher and the Matilda. And also, once you beat the game on professional mode, which you have to be on easy to unlock professional, you do get the PRL. I am happy about that. I have tried looking up and down. Nobody has any information, but the PRL is there. Unfortunately, in the VR version, Separate Ways is not there. Neither is Assignment Ada or Mercenaries. And I don't think they even have Movie Browser either. I did not notice one. Of course, I spent very little time in the main Start Select menu. But let's go ahead and actually, no. There's no need to load it into it. But since Assignment Ada is not there, and neither is Separate Ways, unfortunately the Chicago typewriter, as far as I can tell, is not available in the game at all. And I'm pretty sure if it was, I would have gotten it after completing the game on professional mode. And also the hand cannon is not in the game either. Which makes sense because I can't do mercenary mode to get the 4 stars for each character on the map. But at least the PRL's there in the Ephemeral Rocket Launcher, which is good. Because with those 2, you can have a lot of fun just running through the game. They have everything in a nice, more neater system. Like they have a pistol slot, a 2-handed weapon slot, a herb. It's to be a lot more useful. Personally, with Resident Evil 4, I usually just say, grenades, sell them, or just don't even bother picking them up. I do know they do have some uses, but I find it kind of boring to use most of the time, but I actually found myself actually liking to use it in VR. It was definitely a lot of fun. And I noticed myself using the mine thrower in Resident Evil 4 VR too, where in normal Resident Evil 4, I just kind of skip out on the mine thrower more often than not. The mine thrower turns into like a pump action mine thrower because there's a lever that you gotta keep on pulling back, but you could pair it up with a magnum because magnum and pistols are one-handed, so you could put them to your side for one-handed weapon slots. And then the mine thrower is a two-handed weapon. So I would, a lot of bosses, I would pull out the mine thrower, get a shot in, stumble them, make them expose their weakness, and then just shoot them with the magnum. Quite fun, very effective against Salazar and Sadler. Also, I found Nathan Krauser to be a lot of fun in VR. Personally, though, I found that I skipped knifing him at the very final boss confrontation because, when you get up there and you have the 3-minute time limit to kill him, I found that more often than not, I just relied on the striker shotgun because you could one-hand it, and I just kept on one-handing it and just shooting him at the legs very easily. I found a few guns actually fully one-handable, even though the two-handed weapon, like the mine thrower, except for when you have to pull the lever back, you can pretty much one-hand that. The Tommy gun you can one-hand, the striker you can one-hand, and also when you beat professional mode, you can one-hand the PRL. I did notice though with the PRL, it pretty much slows your movement down to a very slow speed when you're holding the fire button. So it's mainly a stay still and gun type weapon instead of a one and gun because it slows you down. The rocket launcher I found to be, the infinite ammo one, very fun, which also for all the bosses, when I fought them, I fought all the bosses did not rely on buying a single rocket launcher. The only boss I ever used a rocket launcher was the Sadler's right-hand man because I got a free rocket launcher right before that, so I just save it for him, freeze him, shoot him, done. But every other boss, I always shot up with my guns, and I managed to have enough ammo to get through all 3 modes, no problem. Which, if you haven't played easy mode, which is exclusive to certain regions, and also exclusive to PC, I've only been able to access easy mode on Steam. I definitely recommend giving it a try because it's on the Oculus Quest and it changes around the game a little bit, which makes it a little bit more fun, a little bit more easier, and you will have ammo and money and everything, health that you need very easily. I went into like the Sadler fight with, I think, almost like 30 to 50 magnum bullets. It was ridiculous. And I'm talking about spare, not even in the clip. It was quite good, a lot of fun. And one thing I noticed is when you're, reloading your guns, you can even toss your mags and stuff up in the air and catch it into your gun because it has a little bit of magnetic type ability where it will go to the slot as long as it's somewhat close to the slot. So if you want to do some fancy reloads, you can, and it's a lot of fun. But one thing I did notice though is like the shotgun and the let's see, I think it's the striker. Yeah, it's the striker. That's the two-handed gun. But with those, you pretty much had to keep on pumping back the shotgun thing, so you could not really one-hand them. I did find a trick where if I shoot, then grab the ammo and let go of the ammo, it will, pump it back for me. But the problem is with one-handing it, you lose so much damage because it's a way wider spread. where you're just better off just two-handing the guns, because you can't truly one-hand them, because you still need to grab the ammo to pump it back. I did find the bolt-action sniper rifle to be actually really good. Normally I skip out on that, because although it's powerful and like the power, it's usually a pain to try to scope in after every shot, but you can actually use the sniper rifles as like handguns pretty much, or magnums. In the case of the bolt action, it's as strong as a magnum pretty much, so you can easily do it. I've actually gotten so good at aiming with it without aiming down sights. I can actually do like a medium or far away type of opponent, headshot them no problem without even aiming down sights, which is kind of fun. I did also notice with the game, the sniper seems to go based off from your default field of view. So when you start up the game, wherever your head's at, when the game first boots up, that's where the sniper wants you to have your head at to look at the scope. It's not controlled by hands, moving the scope close. It's make sure that your head's lined up. Because you can move it up to your face all you want, but if your head's not in the right spot, you won't aim down, and then you'll wonder, why is it not working? In which case, just hold the Oculus button to fix that problem. But, I did run into that problem. I did finally figure out how to fix it. This is how you fix it. Very good. But the puzzles are very well done. Everything is the same puzzle, solution as before, but they mix around the puzzle a little bit to, allow a different way to operate them, and I thought they did a pretty good job implementing that. Unfortunately, though, some scenes of the game, a few cutscenes and one in-game text, if you look at a dead body, did get changed, but to be honest, with the stuff, I found it, personally, I don't care. You did lose out on a funny part where, Lewis says, I see the president equipped his daughter with ballistics, and then Ashley goes, how rude, which I found funny because she was like, no man, don't you go there, I will kick your butt. That's how I always seen it, at least. But anyways, that part been removed along with a few other scenes, but typical value got removed. And if you're play Resident Evil 4 ever before, or then you already know the scenes by heart. You're probably skipping all the scenes anyways. So it's not really too big of a deal that I think like 4 or 5 scenes got cut, which is not that big of a deal. The biggest cut is at the very end where Harkin calls you and you ask for her number and she goes, nope. But, that's the largest time of the screen that got cut. Also when Ashley asked you out at the end got cut, but to be honest, the cuts are not that big of a deal. I'm not a big fan of censorship in games, but to be honest, it's not enough to detract from it or reduce the score of the game. It's still very well made, and even with the cut content, I would say Resident Evil 4 in VR is definitely hands down my go-to way to play Resident Evil 4. And I have it on every console it came out on. GameCube, PS2, PS3, PS4, Wii, the PC. I even got on the Nintendo Switch, and now the Oculus. And the Oculus is definitely my go-to way. Hands down, it's a lot of fun. It brings a lot of new life to the game, and even some parts that before you would be like, not too scary, it really ramps up the fear in it. Like I found a few times I'd get surprised by a sneak enemy that I did not see coming. I'm like, holy shit, and then shoot them down real quick. But And you can play very tactically if you want to, which is awesome. Like hide behind cover and cover shooting where you really couldn't before and stuff. And, I find the game to be way better. And that says a lot because Resident Evil 4 is one of my go to games. It's definitely one of the few games I played way too much, where I've beaten it way too many times, and every time it gets released, shut up, take my money. But, I, let's see. Also, every single gun, like I said, besides the hand cannon and the Chicago typewriter, have made it to the game. And also, every gun has cheaper upgrade prices now. Most of the guns, you're only upgrading the damage and the capacity now. There are a few guns, like for example the Blacktail, I believe it's called, that you're upgrading fire rate, but it's only like 2 or 3 upgrades that you put in. So most of the guns gotten, well, all the guns actually gotten way cheaper to upgrade, which is nice. Definitely nice to see cheaper costs on upgrades. And you know, I would say though, if when you play the game, if you want like a tip on which guns to choose, I would say either the Red 9 or the Blacktail, whichever one's your personal preference. The Red 9 has a bit more damage, which I found the stock for that in the TMP not to be needed. I actually skipped out on buying them. I did not had too much aiming problems where I was like, I really need these. Um, but it's up to you which pistol you like better. But those two are pretty much the top 2 pistols. Punisher and the basic pistol, I'd say pretty much get rid of. Not really worth upgrading. And then the riot gun, I mean not riot gun, the striker, I would recommend getting. Just keep the default shotgun, don't upgrade it, and then just sell it for the striker. And then get the free Magnum from using Ashley after you retrieve her, after you get done playing as her. And then either sniper rifle, I would say, is actually good now. Personally, I find myself leaning more towards the bolt action sniper because I can reload that thing just as fast as the shot delay between the semi-automatic. I just don't have the constant aim down scope, but most of the time you won't really need that because you can pretty much hip fire everything with perfect flawless accuracy. Like the sniper accuracy is insane, really good. So I just found myself not really needing the semi-automatic, constant aim down sights, since I don't always have to aim down sights, and I very rarely do. So I find the bolt action to be the superior one, since it takes up 9 space instead of I think like 16 for the other sniper. But whichever one, they're both good. Pick your poison. Personally, I go for double the damage. And then the mine thrower, pretty good to have on. And with that set, also get the TMP. But then with that setup, you're pretty much good. You can beat the game very easily with that setup, no matter which sniper, which pistols you go. And also, the nice thing is there's so many customization options for the game, which I love because some of the options are really good, which I wish they would add to this game, like skip QTEs during cutscenes, so I could just skip past the cutscenes very quick and easy. Also, when the radio call, you could spam A to skip it. You don't have to keep on touching the radio. Um, but one thing I found myself doing when I was messing around with the infant ammo rocket launcher, I'll grab the gun with my left hand, even though I'm right-handed, so that way my right hand will be up front, because up front is where the trigger is. It has two grips, a grip in the back and then a trigger grip in the front. So I would do that so that way I shoot with the same hand that I've been shooting with all the other guns, and then I let go, quickly reload it, which the infinite ammo rocket launcher has to be reloaded after every shot, and it is very good to hip fire. And unless if you shoot ridiculously close to yourself, you are good. Like, you have to practically shoot right on top of yourself or point blank at a door that's like arm's length away. Not even, you know. I even tried shooting very close to myself multiple times just to get an idea of exactly the range, and let me tell you, you actually can shoot very close without taking any damage while still killing a lot of enemies that are close by. And the infinite ammo rocket launcher, I actually had a I don't even think I will miss the infinite ammo machine gun, the Chicago typewriter, because that used to be my close range powerhouse weapon. And it's nice not having to constantly open up the thing, the inventory. But you are forced to have one two-handed and one one-handed, so you can't go PRL and infinite ammo rocket launcher at the same time. You actually have to switch between by opening up the menu. But I found that there was no problem with the puzzles. They got through pretty good, pretty easy. The limited QTEs that I had to do, which are not available to be skipped, was very easily, either move the controllers apart from each other or up or down. So one controller goes left, one goes right for a part. Or you just push the trigger on each controller, which are very easy quick time events to do. So they weren't that big of a deal. And the game's very faithfully remastered. A lot of stuff that I memorized where it's at, because I played this game way too many times, are all there, which is nice. And given that you can also move and shoot, yeah, you got quite a good speedrun capability in the game too, which I could imagine people pretty much running straight to the exits and being able to be good. And in fact, I find that you got way better movements than even with the Dipman glitch, where you run really fast, which would always get canceled out from some type of action or another. You don't even need that anymore, which is nice. And to be honest, with all the setting options, I'm sure no matter what you pick, you'll find a setting that you like. There was one setting which I personally stayed away from, where you could quick equip weapons, where instead of holding the weapon and grabbing them off your body, you could switch weapons by a weapon wheel type thing. But as far as I could tell, that would force you to one-hand weapons, which but there are options like that. There's a lot of comfortable type options for if you are prone to motion sickness and stuff. Personally, I turned everything to move as fast as possible because I'm immune to motion sickness, thankfully. I haven't ever had any problem with that or any other problem with VR, so I can just keep on running and gunning, no problem. Go high speeds, it does not affect me. But there are options out there if you do get motion sick and all that stuff. Also, one thing I did mess around with is in the boat where you actually have to kill Del Lago, which is a giant fish thing if you don't know for whatever reason. I did mess around with the options. There's a third person mode where you drive around the boat in third person, and then pretty much a first person mode. With the first person mode, the harpoon that you throw actually turns into like a harpoon gun, and you just keep on loading it and shooting it while driving by. Personally, I found it fun just doing like a drive-by shooting with it. It was kind of fun. Just keep on shooting him while I'm driving off to his side, dodging debris. Very fun. But if you put it in third person mode, because of motion sickness or whatever, all you have to do is worry about dodging, and then he'll keep on repeating his go underwater and disappear, and then you have to find him routine. And then, that part will put you in first person where you can actually grab the harpoon and shoot him. Both are very effective and can get the job done. Also, if he does disappear underwater, look towards the gate area. He always seems to spawn at that gate area, for anybody that don't know. But, the game, one thing that I do kinda not like, but it's not a big deal, it's just I'm used to being able to do it, so it kinda sucks when I can't, is when your inventory is full, you can't just pick up something. It will actually stop you from picking up something, even if it's a herb that you planned on using straight away. You actually have to open up your inventory and make space for it. It will not put you in a game and you gotta rearrange. It just says can't grab, which is kind of annoying when you want to mix some herbs or something. Like if you pick up a yellow herb and you want to combine it with a already made green and red herb, unfortunately you can't until you empty out 2 spaces for it, which kind of sucks, but not that big of a deal. And I also did experiment with the on the body mode, where like your pistol's off to your side, your knife is on your body and stuff. And I messed with that sitting and standing, and I can say they did a good job. This is one of the few VR games that actually have sitting down packed, because I usually sit in a chair with an armrest and stuff, and most games don't take into effect of that, so you're just not able to grab stuff. They have completely different grab modes for sitting and standing, so it will make sure that you can grab with ease, which is nice. And let's see. Ashley does seem to be a lot more bullet resistant. Like, she cannot handle explosions. If you shoot her with something explosive, she will just straight up die. But I actually shot her a few times with my pistol and the submachine gun and the sniper and the magnum a few times, just to see, if she'll die instantly or not. And she really took very little damage, which is quite nice, because now it's not like, oh, I accidentally shot her, she's down. And unfortunately, the Special Costume 2 is not in the game. Special Costume 1 is. So if you want Leon to wear his RPD uniform and Ashley to wear a Pop Idol outfit, you can, but there's no pretty much gangster Leon and, more importantly, invincible night outfit Ashley. Unfortunately, that's not in the game, which I really kinda don't like, because I kinda like just putting that on her, not having to worry. Of course, I just played more cautiously. During my entire playthrough on all 3 difficulty modes for over 30 hours, Ashley did not get touched once, because I played smart with her, but personally I'd like have the enemy fall to the ground because the night outfit's too heavy and then just knife them. But unfortunately I could not take advantage of that. So unfortunately that's not in the game, which, I kind of wish was in, but, it's not. Personally, if they later on down the road add the content that's missing, which again, Separate Ways, Assignment Ada, and Mercenaries, I would definitely be happy to see that stuff, make a return to the game. It might take some time for them to develop, and they might have said, all right, let's just release the game, then we can add the stuff later. It might be plans for future DLC, or it might be something free with an update. But I would like to see it, and if it is a DLC, probably like a $5-10 DLC would be a good enough price that I would say worth the buy. But with how fast paced you can actually move and how awesome you can move, like a lot of cool shooting tricks and actually holding down two lanes at once with certain guns. I would love to be playing on Mercenaries because that would be really great, but unfortunately it's not there. And the game's $40, which I would definitely say is a good price for it. I know it's more expensive than the $20 that we're used to, but it's made from the ground up, and for $40, I felt like I got my money's worth. I have paid for games that VR that is that much, and I actually gotten less than what I have out of Resident Evil 4 for the same price that I paid for Resident Evil 4. So, and personally, I find Resident Evil 4 to add pretty much more of a you know new standard for VR for me, where a lot of games that I was playing before that was good, yeah, they don't compare to Resident Evil 4 in VR. No, it's definitely hands down one of my most favorite VR games that I've played, and it definitely is the definitive edition of Resident Evil 4 to play for me. Hands down. Even without these, and even without Special Costume 2, Chicago Typewriter, and Hand Cannon, it's my personally with the game, I have to give it a perfect 10 out of 10. There's, the few flaws of the game, it's not enough to bring it down. Like the censored content where they removed a bit, it doesn't take down from the game, and even with missing these modes, it's still really good. And it's amazing that we have a game like this on the Quest. It's really good. Like, it's so good of a game. It's usually what you would expect from a PC VR type gameplay, or even with quality wise, a PS4 VR, but without all the tracking issues of the PS4 VR. But, how bad the tracking and stuff is on PS4, it's due to its outdated technology that it uses, which, when the new PS4 VR comes out, that should all be fixed, but currently, it has a lot of tracking issues, which, is what it is. But anyways, the quality and stuff is so good. I've actually gotten more enjoyment out of Resident Evil 4 for VR than I have gotten out of Skyrim for VR on PSVR. Which, granted, it was on PSVR, so that could be part of the reason why. But I never felt like buying it again for PC VR. But anyways, very well done game. And I'm definitely hoping that later on they'll add these modes. Maybe it just takes some time to make it. Maybe I think the Quest 2 should be able to handle it, since, it can handle the game, so I don't think it would be too much to add these, or maybe it just haven't been made yet, or whatever. But hopefully they make these and add them into the game. But even without that, I definitely will say Resident Evil 4 for VR, 10 out of 10, must buy. Even if you're not a big fan of Facebook and stuff, I definitely say if you're on the fence of getting Quest 2 or any future Quest seller, in my opinion, good reason to buy the Oculus Quest 2. I bought an Oculus Quest 2 just for this game, and I do not regret my purchase. So, personally, I would say get it. Even if you're not a big fan of Resident Evil 4 because the controls are bad or whatever, get it in VR. The controls are amazing, fluid. You know, the fluidity of the controls in VR is amazing. I can actually quickly turn around, quickly shoot somebody, run, to the nearest door if I wanted to, knife anybody, pull off tricks with shotguns and stuff, constantly move and shoot and stuff like that, where on other consoles you just can't. You're stuck standing still when aiming, and also Leon moves his arms a lot when aiming, where on VR it's only moves if you move your arm, which unless if you got shaky arms, you're not going to really see much laser sight going here and there, which is very nice. And with snipers moving, it won't move unless if you move your hand, which is very nice. And personally, this has been the best that Resident Evil 4 have ever been. And it's definitely worthy of the buy. Anyways, I'm gonna go. I've been chatting long enough. I'll see you guys on the next video.